Shalom, call hello Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. This is your brother War making a video to feed the sheep and edify the lambs. Shalom to the Akim, Akwathim that are going to be watching this video. Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Brakatham. Call hello Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. So what I'm going to do is just start this one off by this person's comment named Sammy. And it was off this article I was reading about horses find police tell trampled protesters. Right, you see in Ottawa, that freedom convoy, the police are cracking down on these people because Trudeau put out a emergency act to start removing these guys off of the streets and all that, right, which is a part of, the signs of the times where scripture goes into saying, it's in 2nd Ezra 15, I believe, right, when you see uproars of the people, alright, but Sammy's comment really got to me because of what they said, and it also goes into how people are starting to see who the real problem is, who the real criminal, where the evil is on the earth, and it is these so-called white men, just to keep it 100, to keep it a buck. The white people, which are the Edomites, right? It's what Sammy calls them, the Western people, right? Because the Western has done a lot worse than the other European countries, and the Western are more prideful than their other European counterparts, right? And these Edomites, their pride and their faith is backed by nothing but lies. So truthfully, they don't really have nothing to be prideful about. All right, especially knowing that there's a judgment coming. But I also made a comment similar to hers, but I'm a read her comment because I upvoted. I really liked it. It says, the biggest criminals are the Western people because they sit quietly like perverted LGBTs, and meantime their savage governments treat them like animals in exchange for a loaf of bread, and whips them like animals at the slightest excuse. Right, going into how, right, these guys done stole this country, right? They done stole this country, and now their leaders, their governors, give them nothing but a crumb, right? They get a loaf of bread. We get the crumbs. Now, if I could put it in a better analogy, their leaders get the whole dining table. They get the whole mansion, the whole castle, all right? The Edomites now, there's some Edomites, they get a table, right? And then there's other Edomites that get the loaf of bread, right? The heathen, they get the crumbs, and then Jake, the Latino, the Native Indian, and the so-called black man get nothing but specks of the crumbs, man. We at the bottom of this, right? Their savage government came in, raped, robbed, and murdered the Latino, Native Indian, and Negro man, which are the Israelites, right? And they do it to the other heathen nations as well, right? And it's good that she calls him a pervert, because Esau is actually, these people are perverts, man. They're profane people, right? Parading around naked on stolen land, trying to pass their profane laws on stolen land. They don't want to, it would have been one thing if you did it in your own country, but you're doing it on other people's lands and giving everyone else permission to do it too. And that's just foul. That's just foul, right? There's no way you can try and sugarcoat doing something as evil as that, right? She says, and whips them like animals at the slightest excuse, right? These guys are trying to protest and argue all across these other European nations. They're protesting, they're having the uproars, right? And what happens, their government cracks down on them, which is usually their own people, right? At the slightest excuse, you guys don't want to wear masks. These guys coming and putting down curfews and locking you up in the house and beating you in the streets. Right, they're doing that to their own people right now. Which goes into Matthew 12th chapter. Let me get that. Alright. Matthew the 12th chapter, and it says, "And if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?" Right? So these guys are divided amongst themselves. Right? And that's another sign that their place is coming to a closing. Right? All the while the wars and rumors of wars are on the rise. This is another sign to show you that this place can't stand. Right? So it's coming, the end is coming soon for this kingdom. Right? Whether you can see it or not. Right? Well, they deserve it, she says. They never came out in defense of the victims of the crimes their governments do in their name. Which the main victims who started off getting this wealth that they have on this western side is the so-called native man, so-called Negro man, and so-called Latino man. They haven't come to our defense once. Right? Let me get that in Lamentations. They haven't come to our defense once for anything. All they do is oppress us any chance they get. More and more in the streets. All the while they're oppressing us, they're getting oppressed. All the while these white people are oppressing us, they're getting oppressed by their oppressors, which is their own people. It's to the point where you ask a white person that's knows and understands that these governments are out here getting rich off of them. You ask them their names of these people who own all these major corporations. You know, the Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, who owns Nestle, the water companies, all these different companies, the Walmarts, who's in charge of food, all these things. They're white men, right? So when you ask them, like, so what? You gotta ask them, what race are they? They're gonna be the white. So they're the ones in charge of all this, right? You complaining about how the government's doing this and that. Those are your own people doing these wicked acts, and you're getting caught up in it because they're just that selfish, and they just want that much money, is be able to hoard as much as they can. It goes into another scripture in Obadiah about they can't be satisfied, right? But to keep it pushing, there's that. Let me get that Lamentations. This is Lamentations 4:17, and it says, "As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we watch for a nation that could not save us." Right? Our people think their salvation is being like the so-called white man, wearing the tuxedo, the suit and tie, right? Getting up in the businesses and the economy, right? They think that's how they're gonna be saved out here. Right, and that's not how you're gonna be sick. Cause look at how it's turned out for the so-called white man. What makes you think it's gonna turn out any different for you? And when we do get up, being mingled with them, they don't let you get. They only let us get so far ahead, especially because we're inside their. We're in their country. We're in their ball game, so to speak. What happened? What's it called? What's his name? Bill Cosby tried to buy out one of them corporations, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, the man's getting blasted on media, and he ends up in jail. Which, to sidetrack a little bit, I'm sure all these people do perverse and profane acts, but they're not gonna put you out on it unless you do something that crosses them. So I'm sure Bill Cosby probably did touch these women, or maybe he didn't. But either way, they could produce victims and then lay a false lie on you, and then charge you in their court system with evidences they made up, whether you're innocent or guilty. They can do these things. So you could literally be innocent, and they could still produce some fake evidence to charge you, right? That's how corrupt these people are. And then you got R. Kelly. Every time one of these Edomites pedophile pastors get caught, or Catholic priests get caught doing something, or damn freaking what's his name, Jeffrey Epstein, they always whip up one of our celebrities that might have done something. And here it is, R. Kelly just got caught with a minor, just doing something minor compared to Jeffrey Epstein. Right, Jeffrey Epstein got damn islands. Man has a whole island where you don't even know what he could be doing on there. Right, but they try and downplay him to go for someone like R. Kelly, which I'm not excusing what R. Kelly did, but East always tries to downplay his crimes and bring up light on ours or everyone else's, and make you seem like the bad guy when you really look at it, these guys have done nothing. Nobody's ever done anything compared to what they've done to anybody, right? It says, well, they deserve to be treated like salves. These evil Western governments did the same by invading our lands. And this, when she said that, I'm assuming she's either Latino or Native, and murdering and plundering the people of those lands. But we know how to beat the criminals, albeit at a great cost and destruction and murder of our people. The Western peoples and their government slogan should be for the criminals, by the criminals. And this was the main part that made me want to start off this with Isaiah 33, I believe. No, 32 and 5. I'll start off here. It's Isaiah 32 and 5. It says, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For a vile person will speak villainly, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against Yahweh, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Right? And that vile person who's been called liberal, these so-called white people, the Edomites. Right? You really are vile people. You are the lowest of the low. You're the scumbags of the earth. You are complete. You are the demons in human form, man. Right? And you've been set on high to rule everybody. How perverse and profane you guys are in your acts, man. Right? It says a vile person will speak villainy. Right? You speak villainy. You speak evil towards everybody else, and you speak highly of yourselves when you guys are the biggest criminals on the earth. You done stole land, got rich off free labor, right? And then all while practicing hypocrisy, talking about you're Christians and all that. Meanwhile, you're plundering and killing people, right? And then they say to keep the 10 Commandments. One of the commandments is to have no idols before the Most High. And all these guys' country is filled with nothing but paganism and idolatry, letting heathen come into their country and practice all manner of idolatry. That's literally hypocrisy, right? But everyone looks at them like they're the standard, like they know anything about the Most High, right? So no, he's not vile. They're vile hypocrites. It says he will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord. Now he's uttering error, saying the commandments are done away with. We don't gotta keep them, but it's definitely all right to keep the practice of paganism, sexual deviancy, adultery. You know, he lets all these things go that the Most High hates, but anything the Most High loves, you can't do. Right? All the while, it says to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. See, they don't. When you look into the spendings of the Western countries, they don't put spending or important spending into their healthcare, their social works, right? On food banks, on helping their poor, their people, the homeless, right? They don't put help in places for these things, but they always got time to put money into militarization and building up their military and their firearms and pushing their military overseas. That's where they're busy at. They're not worried about what's going on in their country unless it has to do with making money off the people. right? But outside of their country, they're working on oppressing the people. Inside, they're working on oppressing the children of Israel and making money off of them. On the outside, they're out oppressing the other nations, right? So, no, I'm gonna get verse 7. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. And even when the needy speaketh right. So when you come out with truth in this place, they don't want truth to come out. They try and slander. They don't even try counter truth with their truth. Nowadays they just slander you and try and paint you as a certain narrative, right? To the point where somebody who does rational thinking, comes and reviews what somebody who's speaking the truth is saying. They could come to a rational understanding of why this person is saying these things. But these guys, they don't. They just slander you. They just call you names. Just like with the LGBTs, they be calling you all kinds of names. Like they be like trans people, certain trans people. If you don't date them, they'll call you transphobic. They'll just start calling you all these different derogatory terms and labels just because you may not like them or you may not agree with them. Right? That's like the equivalent of what they'd be doing. Alright, let me jump to Isaiah 33 and 1. It says, Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So the Most High said, destruction to you that have spoiled and raped, robbed, and murdered people, when you weren't raped, robbed, and murdered. Right? And woe to you that deal people treacherously, you oppressing people, killing them in the streets, robbing them of their wages, right? Not treating them with respect, things of that nature, right? And they don't treat you like that, right? You don't see black people, Latino people, Native Indian people collectively treating white people the way they treat us. Okay? It says, when thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. Now he's getting ready. The Most High is raising up these nations. You go to Zechariah, the first chapter, I believe, talking about the carpenters, right? To spoil this place. And we're ultimately going to take the spoil of everybody at the end of the day. Alright? When thou shalt end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee, because they're at the end of this thing. Right? They're trying. Their ultimate goal is to get that RFID chip out and move to a digital currency, get their new system in place, so to speak. What they call the NWO. Right? So they're at the end of this thing. But that's why they don't need to. Alright, they already got their bases, their military bases in countries across the world, taking resources across the world. They got their currency as a standard across the world. What more outright rape, robbing, and murdering do they need to do? Anyhow they do anything, people start looking at them a type of way, like, whoa, America, what are you doing? Like, you can't be treating these people like that. You can't be going up in this country like that. That's how everyone's looking at these guys nowadays. But they gotta start walking tiptoeing, and try not to step on glass. So this is why they're getting dealt treacherously. When the times are open for the open, you gotta take the chance, go for the bite. That's how they're gonna go down. That's why it says a thief in the night. All right. Let me go get Galatians 6 and 7, right? Because there are criminals that stole this place, man. Their forefathers are criminals, right? But they stole to get generational wealth and to not give back in entirety to their people, because the main ones who are really actually benefiting off of this are the ones who inherited generational wealth and keeping it going. Now they're able to get their Amazon. Now they got their Walmart. Right? Now they got their they're bigger corporations. They got the banks already set up. They got the schools all set up. Right? You got mans like Elon Musk. Right? They got a monopoly on all these things. Right? And they're not out here trying to get back. These guys are up there. Right? Like Paul says, against wickedness in high places. Right? There's mans in high places that know everything that's happening, and these mans don't want to share that with the rest of their race of people. They're only sharing it amongst themselves. Right? So yes, the so-called white man benefits off of his what his forefathers did. Right? But there's a specific hierarchy in it that's really truly benefiting the upper echelon of their own race of people. Now the race of people that don't want to bow down and do what these higher up Edomites say, they're getting treated like shit. That's why you got these Edomites coming in, oh, we're oppressed. They had that one white lady talking about wearing a mask is slavery. These niggas don't know oppression. That's why they see how they're getting treated by like this, thinking that they're on the same level. They're not on the same level. You guys are tools to your own people, man. And if you don't get down with them, they'll toss you to the side, just like they'll toss us to the side. And that's what they're beginning to realize, but it's too late, right? So they deserve. I feel happy. I'm not sad when these things happen to them. It's good for them, because that's the judgment of the Most High. He says He will liken His judgment unto a ring. Right, and this is Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you guys are reaping exactly what you sow. You oppress people, you're getting oppressed. Right? You stole from people, you're getting stole from. Right? You enforce a different life and ideology on people, you're getting that enforced on you. And you can see how they don't like it because they're protesting in the streets. So if you don't like being treated like that, why'd you treat other people like that? Okay? And then you got this damn demon just proving the sister right in the comments, talking about, but after all she said, the only thing he could come up to say is, but we have free porn. Right? And that goes to show you who this man is. I'm gonna close on that. That's how you know who this man is, man. You are who your father is. Okay, Isa. Oh, I'm gonna get one more, right? Because the judgment goes around, comes around. These mans don't even know what they're getting themselves into. A lot of y'all just gonna wake up in slavery. It's Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So you guys are getting the reward of your forefathers, right? That they reaped. Now is the time to get your reward, right? That's why nothing you do to try and save your country is gonna work. So let me get that Hebrews and then I'll close this. Because this man's such a perverse beast. That's the only thing he could say in reply to all of that. It's Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Right? This man is a fornicator. For you to only say that, I know he's trolling to a certain extent, but that's how these guys are. You go in the online game lobby with these guys, all they're talking about is sucking man's nuts off, eating nuts, doing all that stuff. Right? And yeah, you do have it for free, because you guys are perverse and you're profane. You want everybody to see it. Right? That's all they know how to do. That's why you guys have sex with animals. You have sex with other men with men, woman with woman, with children. Cause you guys only know fornication. That's all you know, right? So I'm gonna close out on that. Big ups to the sis. I don't know if she knows the truth like that, but nevertheless, Kahal Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and Shalom.